G'day, legends. I'll open up with the same line that Jeff says every time we start a pod. Welcome back to Roadside, presented by Zwift. Today we're going to be previewing the 108th Giro d'Italia. I think I said that right. I hope so. Mate, you're excited for the Giro? It's May. It's the Giro Grand Tour season.
It's so good. I love it. I was ready for the Giro after Roubaix finished.
It's a bit of a snooze period now, isn't it? You know, we just had Tour of Romandy, which was won by UAE. So they just continued their dominance again. But it was a bit of a snooze fest. So bring on the Giro. The Giro, a little bit of history for all the punters out there. It started back in 1909. They saw L'Equipe, the success that they had with the Tour, the newspaper, of course, I'm talking about. So that was La Gazzetta. They went to the boss, one of the editors. He said, "Mate, we've got to have our own race. You know, we've got to do our own thing." And then they put out the coin jar to get a few liras in there. And as quickly as you knew, they ran the first race in May of 1909, 127 on the start list. And it was Luigi Garner. Don't know if that's symbolic into this year's. Maybe there's something in that.
Who got the win?
Who took the win?
And
Luigi Garner.
That newspaper, the La Gazzetta, they were printed on pink paper. So the newspaper was pink. And that's the reason why the leader's jersey is the colour of pink. How do you say it? What do they call it? The what colour is it? Not Ciclamino, is it?
The Maglia Rosa.
Maglia Rosa. That's what I was thinking of that.
Yes.
But that's why it is the colour it is, because that is the shade of pink that the original La Gazzetta newspaper was printed on. So pretty cool fact and a lot of history in this race. 108th edition. We're going to be going into the course preview, of course, the stages, the start list, the race favourites, the stage hunters. That's always my favourite as well. Who are the ones that are going to get all the stages, get all the glory? The big leaders. Who's going to get the big, that giant trophy that we know and love?
It's one of the best trophies. The Italians do the best trophy. The Giro, for those who don't know, it's a spiral that goes up cylindrical.
Yeah.
And they keep adding a piece of metal or whatever the trophy's made out of to this trophy. It is wonderful. So nice. And then obviously Tirreno Adriatico, they've got the big trident. It's good, isn't it? It's
a beauty. It's one you definitely want to have. And I remember when Jai Hindley came back with his trophy for a special event we did at the Lexus Centre here in WA.
The Lexus Centre?
It was a Lexus dealership.
You would have been pulling the dealer aside, the manager, mate. We'll give you a deal.
Yeah. He said he had to get a seat on the plane next to him just for the trophy itself. And there was still someone who had to pick it up with their bare hands. But we won't go into that. FE Sports, they will be dropping a new product during the Giro, the Wahoo.
Yes.
The Wahoo Bolts and Roams, the 3. They are version 3. They're coming out.
I'm so keen to get my hands on one of those.
Saturday, yeah. And you'll be able to see all the photos of the riders and races using those throughout the Giro. So let's dive in. We've got the big, fat Giro preview, Tommy. This is Roadside, presented by Zwift.
Well, in the usual fashion, my friend, the Giro, in a nutshell, it has it all. The course, obviously, 21 days of racing, 3,400 kilometres of road is what they'll travel, 42 kilometres of time trialling, 2 TTs, one short one in the second stage over in Albania, where they're doing the first 3 stages. There's going to be 3 sprint stages, 6 rather.
Six sprints.
There's going to be 6 sprint stages. And then it's going to be the final week, to be honest, that will make or break this race. That's going to be in the Alps, in sort of the northwestern corner of Italy. Interesting enough as well, on stage 9, you're going to see 30 kilometres of gravel. So they've managed to sneak in a little bit of gravel. They want that pool, don't you?
Every time they put gravel in a Grand Tour, it's built up to this huge thing, and absolutely nothing happens because the riders just sort of meander over it because they don't want to lose the race in 30 Ks. It's just, I reckon they need to take that shit out. Take it out and save it for Strata. You don't need, it's a gimmick thing at a Grand Tour.
Well, regardless, okay. I absolutely love it. I just love the chaos of it. We saw it at the Tour last year and it was bloody brilliant, wasn't it? So I think bring it in. And there's always someone who wins in this day. And I think the last big winner on the Giro gravel, Mauro Schmidt, when he was actually riding for Quick-Step back in the day, he was there, the Swiss superstar, and that was probably the biggest win of his career until maybe Cadell's. Interesting enough, Jet, this year's Giro, it's got 52,000 metres of elevation, a touch over. Ooh. Now, that's a big increase from last year's, which was 44,000 metres.
Fuck, that's a massive increase. 10,000 metres Wow.
Yeah, a lot of talk last year that the race director, there was a bit of a consensus that, hey, Tade, we're just going to make it a little bit easier for you, mate, to lure him in. And then this year, the Giro has been put back on the pedestal of pure carnage,
and it's
that
all
it offers in the last week or so.
So the carnage is all back-ended. So all the big climbs are mainly happening towards the end of the Giro this year.
Yeah, absolutely. In a nutshell, I've broken down in my sort of brief look at the course. 5 stages. You've got the Grande Partenza. That is the opening couple of stages, so to speak. What they've done,
in Albania.
Yeah, they've flogged it off to Albania. So they're making a shitload of cash out of that. They've put it over there. You've got 3 stages. Stages 1 and 3, they're sort of that grippy sort of stage with a couple of climbs back-ended, small and medium mountain climbs.
Yep.
Tom Pidcock, he's going to be sort of the likes of rider who will be licking his lips at these stages, particularly the first stage. Stage 2, mate, you've got a time trial. It's a short time trial. I don't know why they've bothered, because now they've got to send all the TT bikes to Albania and then back to Italy.
13 Ks.
So when you think of the logistics of having to do that, that's huge. So that's going to be one to really see which teams are dialed in. That can actually cause quite a lot of stress amongst a lot of the teams.
Yeah, absolutely. And this final stage, stage 3, by the way, the final stage in Albania, this I think is the one that Pidcock will be really liking. This with this little 2 kilometer category 2 climb. Holy shit, 10 Ks at 7%, with I guess cresting 125 kilometers in, and it's downhill for 25 Ks. So that's going to be a fierce descent. Out of Albania, how does it progress from there, the Giro?
Well, the race, they have a rest day because of the travel, so that'll ease the logistics a little bit. I don't like how they do that. How they do
day after 3 stages.
Yeah, I'll double check that. I don't like it, but I'm 80% sure that is. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, the 12th of May is a rest day, so 3 stages and a rest day. That is certainly unique.
Yeah, it certainly is. And anyway, the race, the last time I can think of that happening might have been when the race went to Israel.
Yes,
the Giro.
Right, yeah.
And I heard by all means that tested the patience of the peloton. Anyway, the race resumes in Italy's southeastern corner. From there, the race overall goes from south to north.
Okay.
That's the general corridor that it's going to be running up.
So from the boot to the straps?
Yeah, I'd say the heel.
Okay,
they start the heel, the southeastern corner, and then they move across. So then they're obviously on the eastern seaboard. They make their way with a few transitional stages. The sprinters will have their opportunities across 4, 5, and 6. They'll end in the city of Napoli. And then from there, stages 7, mate, the next stage of the race, the GC will sort of click into gear. We will see the first summit finish in Abruzzo, in central Italy, the region. You got this sort of last climb that sort of will prompt the GC riders, 12K at 6% average.
Oh yeah, up to 1,400 metres, yeah.
So yeah, it's genuine, and that'll be, in my opinion, the first real look at maybe if anyone has the gauntlet. It suits a Roglic, so to speak, though.
It's 168 kilometres with 3,200 metres climbing in the 7th stage. So yeah, you look at the profiles of those 2 stages. It's very, very interesting, and you could actually see in those opening 7 stages, you could easily see some random rider in the Maglia Rosa.
Yeah, absolutely, because it's not hard enough.
Yeah.
So it really throws down that first opening 3 stages in Albania. If you're a rider, say like a Welt, who gets over the first couple of climbs, takes the Maglia Rosa, has a good time trial, he's not getting out of it until that stage, potentially.
Yeah, okay.
Following that, mate, end of the block on stage 9. That's the gravel stage that I touched on earlier. Mate, there's only 4 gravel sectors. There's a couple of them that are on climbs. The race, it starts in Giubio, it finishes in Siena, so it's got the final iconic kick up to Piazza del Campo.
Does it really?
Yeah, it does, mate. Yeah, it's sort of mirroring the Strada Bianchi that we have, obviously, in the Spring Classics. Yep. So there's a bit of history there. It's certainly not a day that, you're going to win the Giro. It's a day you're going to lose the Giro.
Punches will be, the bike preparation will be key.
Also, we know the Giro, the weather. Obviously, it's May. It's still early spring or late spring, rather. That can be quite tumultuous. So, by all means, if this turns out to be a messy sort of weather day, that just puts a huge amount of stress on the GC riders. And I think this could be a really interesting stage. I know there's not a lot of gravel. Some of the sectors there, they're back-ended. But at the end of the day, I still think it will excite the race. And I think it will excite because when you've looked at the start list, and there's a lot of riders here who would be stage hunters, so to speak.
Oh, yeah.
They'll be licking their lips at this stage.
Yeah, particularly those who like Strada Bianca as well. So
It's got Pidcock written all over on this stage, mate.
It does. The profile is not a lot of climbing. I mean, it must be lots of little punches in there because the profile makes it look like it's flat, but there's 180 Ks, 2,200 metres. There's still some pinches in there, and all the sectors are towards the back end as well. So you go from that stage 9 gravel stage into a rest day into the second TT of the tour. That is a very interesting 3 days.
Yeah, it's an interesting block. You've got that rest day, and then obviously I don't mind it having a time trial, the second time trial, which is just under 30 kilometres in length after the rest day. But yeah, I just hope that no big favourite comes out and just has a bad day, loses 30 seconds or a minute or so.
If you're having a bad day at this point in the race, where at the 10th stage, they're having their second rest day, there's only really been one hard stage.
Yep.
Really, you shouldn't be. They should be They should be worried about detraining at this point. At the 10th stages, holy shit. Okay, so
I'll get Flappy. You can ask Flappy how he's going with his detraining by stage 10. I'd like to hear the answer on that. It could also be one to watch out for him there. Anyway, stages 10 to 15, we've got a few more sprint opportunities, a couple of sort of medium mountain days. Nothing that'll test the GC.
Transitional stages.
Yep, precisely.
Nothing special.
They are going to get us up to the north.
Yep.
At the base of the mountains.
Okay.
Before finally, mate, this is exciting. The final week, stages 16 to 21, barring stage 18 and the final procession into Rome on stage 21.
Right.
It is brutal. This is where the 108th Giro will be decided in the Alps, mate. We've got over 1,000 kilometres of racing.
Yep.
But we've got 20,000 metres, just a touch over 20,000 metres of climbing in a week, mate. This is filthy. I cannot stress that enough. The Giro themselves, they've got 3 5-star stages on their rating. All 3 of them are in this week, 16, 19 and 20. So they've back-ended this Giro.
Which is the climb that's under ice right now? It's just snow. Which
so
one is
that is the uncategorized climb that comes with 40 kilometers to go on stage 20, and it is the Col delle Finestre. That takes riders right up to just under 2,200 meters. At the moment, stack of snow on it. I read a story today.
Yeah, it snows like 3 stories high. Yeah, covering everything.
They're talking about, no worries, mate. We've got the roller coming up. We're going to roll it in a week or so. Mate, this is 3 cars of snow piling on the road.
The MCG curator on there with a roller. Give me a spell. I mean, it reminds me of when they had the Giro when the Bali won and Krushwick went, head over tits into the ice wall.
He did. He certainly did, and he clipped Esteban Chavez.
Esteban, yeah.
So that was one of the fascinating moments of the Giro.
That if they manage to get something through it, a digger through it to at least get the road clear, they're going to be riding with walls of ice on the left and right of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope it happens because it'll be a beautiful, picturesque stage. You don't want to have a bad day coming off this final rest day in stage 16. I tell you what, mate, it is so difficult. Another summit finish. You got 12-kilometre climb right at the back end at 8%, followed by an 18-kilometre climb at 6%. Riders will be happy to get through stage 16. 17's hard, but don't get me wrong, it's going to really grind riders in. The issue with stage 17 is that you've got the Cat 1, which is the last big categorised climb. It's 50 kilometres from the finish on stage 17.
Yes, the Passo di Mort. Oh, it's the Mortarolo.
It is the Mortarolo. Now, that's why I'm bringing it up.
Climb, okay.
Because it's a bloody iconic climb. Yes. The Tifosi, they're going to be there in droves. The flares will be going off. Oh, it'll be absolutely all scenes. And I know it's only 50 kilometres from the finish. Afterwards, you've got a lot of undulation.
Yes.
But no major climbs to speak of. Yep. I think you might see some of the desperate GC men.
Yep.
The guys who are, that 10 to 15, they might try something. It could be a day if a rider gets in a breakaway from the get-go. Depending on the scenario with the Magliarosa, the GC lead, you could see a little bit of control creeping in, and also just maybe the leading team just going, hey, we don't care if someone moves from 10th to 6th on the GC. If someone wants to chase it, that's not our problem.
It's got satellite riders written all over it as well. And one thing to remember is the Mortarolo descent is dangerous. Yeah, it is a very, very sketchy climb. So that's stage 17. Bookmark that one. I have to say, from that climbing, this big back-ended Giro, or the back-ended part of the Giro, stage 16 through to stage 20, only 2 actual mountaintop finishes.
Yep.
And I think, because you look at stage 17, we've got the Mortarolo there, 50k's from the finish, but no mountaintop finish there. And even stage 19, a lot of climbing, 160k, 4,700 metres.
In only 170 kilometres,
there'll be no riders left, but again, they finish on a bit of a downhill after they crest the sort of the highest point of the race at 1,700 metres. So I like seeing the hilltop, mountaintop finishes, but I guess it's not always super practical. What about I think stage 20, 200k's, 4,100 metres, they go up, the final 2 climbs, they're Col de Fenestre, which is a hectic climb, 2,100 metres, 18 kilometres at 9%, and then the Sestre to finish. Mm-hmm. That is, just to be up there at the top, watching that would be amazing.
On stage 20, you are going to have every sprinter trying to get in the breakaway.
It's 100k's a flat.
There'll be an agreement pre-stage, mate. They'll say, let's get all the boys up the front.
Yeah.
We're going to have a roll through, and then the GC men can battle it out. But they want to start the climb 20 minutes ahead because they will just be on their hands and their knees come that second last stage. What do you think of it, Jet? Just briefly, mate. We won't dive too far into the pure parkour, but in my opinion, it's a traditional Giro. We've got, this opening foray of sprint stages where we're going to see the sprinters come to the front of the bike race. Some punchers are going to have their day as well, particularly in Albania.
Yep.
And then the climbers come to the foray.
I like it. I always like it. Grand Tour's great, but just at a glance, I like the mixture of stages. There's lots of launch pads for attacks in almost every single stage. Apart from the TTs, even the sprint stages, there's these little lumps and bumps everywhere. So there's no real boring sort of cookie cutter stages, but I would like to see at least one more GC stage in those first 10 stages, because it just makes the GC riders nervous, because you know what it's like. There's always somebody who comes down, ruins their race because they chop the wheel, or someone crashes in front of them, and I'm just worried for I don't want a Yuso or Roglic, and we'll talk about riders soon, to be brought down by some innocuous crash and without any... Because, once the GC has been ruffled up and we get a little look after maybe one climbing stage, it relaxes everyone. Like the first sprint stage,
absolutely.
It relaxes the sprinters. So I just would like to see one GC stage stuffed in that first 10, but... geez, you just got to save the dates for these. Save the date, the 27th of May through to the 1st of June. I'll be watching every stage start to finish.
Yeah, stage 18, you could get some sleep. Watch the highlights on the sprint there, because I reckon there's only going to be a handful of sprinters that are left.
Yeah, that sucks.
But I do like how they've offered that in there to the sprinters in the final week. You get that opportunity, and then you get stage 21 into Rome.
Yes.
I think it's a good Giro. I'm really excited. I think it favours the pure climbers, maybe like the Hindleys. I'm talking of.
Yes, and the ones who excel towards the back as well, who really get better as the race goes on.
Yeah, the riders who manage load, the overall load of a Grand Tour, I think. Particularly also the riders who experienced at Grand Tours, because the Giro throws everything at you with the weather. So I think those riders who've got experience in Grandies will pay dividends.
I like it. We'll talk about the start list after this break. This is Roadside, presented by Zwift.
Well, mate, the start list, unlike the parkour, it's a bit of a mixed bag, to be honest. And I was combing my way through it, very blasé, obviously, the other night. On a team front, there's no Lotto. So they have decided to forego the Giro, focusing on the Tour.
I thought you were talking about... For some reason, I thought you meant Visma. I was like, what? They're not going? Okay, so Lotto aren't there.
No, they got to be there. They're a World Tour team. Yep. So instead, obviously, we've got Q36.5, Tom Pidcock. They're going to be the big spearhead there. We've got Polti Visit Malta. That's Alberto Contador's team, and
Beautiful.
Ivan Basso. So they always get an invite, those
Where's
boys.
our man? Bloody Aiden Buttigieg, the great man. We need him in the team.
We certainly do. Your mob, Tudor Pro Cycling. And then, of course, VF Group Bardiani. I love to see these boys on the start line, honestly.
Who's this Chilean he's got in there? Vicente Rojas. Look at him. He's snuck in there amongst all the Italians from that team.
No, you watch, mate. They are a good outfit. They've got Enrico Zanoncello, who is a bit of a fast man.
My man.
So you keep an eye out on this mob here.
Okay.
They'll be in every single breakaway. I can guarantee you that.
Actually, number 211 for them, Filippo Forelli.
Yeah, solid.
Forelli. He is very, very good. So you're right. They're not all stinkers on that team.
No, they're not. There's going to be 55 debutants in this race, mate. Paul Magnier, your man, is the youngest.
Excellent.
Debutant, the sprinter from Quickstep, Sedal Quickstep.
Yep.
So he's going to be spearheading the Belgian team here alongside, obviously, Mick Orlando. We'll get into that in a little bit.
Do you reckon that's a record? 55 debutants.
It's really up there. I thought about it for a second, and then I didn't give it a second thought.
I'll dig it up later when
I
we're
wanna
doing
hear
our Giro pods throughout the race. We'll bring it back up.
Yeah, I thought it was fascinating because I think it's showing now that a bit of a change in how teams are approaching the Giro. They're giving opportunities to younger riders. Younger riders are coming into the sport earlier.
And performing.
And they're performing.
So GC contenders, Tommy, we've got first on the list, Roglic riding for Red Bull Bora. We haven't seen much of Roglic this year, but we know he turns up. He's won this race before, 2023. He won it. Hasn't raced since Catalunya, so a bit of a gap there, but he did have a good campaign. Won that race, 2 stages. Algarve, not so great, but he's got a strong team. He's got a pretty solid team. Having Jai Hindley, a former winner, at your service, basically, that gives him a great chance.
Yeah, it certainly does. Even Danny Martinez, who was third last year, is going to be alongside him.
Well.
He's got Gianni Moscon, obviously Jan Traknik, his fellow Slovenian, is going to be there, the bodyguard, Traknik. Wow. It's a really solid team, but it is going to be so fascinating because Jai Hindley, in his own right, deserves a fair crack at this. And I think he's also going in with co-leadership. I think that'll be one of the first questions put to him at the first Red Bull presser, because Hindley himself has finished 8th at the Tour of the Alps, 5th at Tirreno, and he was 9th at Catalunya. So
that's what he does too. He just sits under the radar.
And they're week-long races. And we just spoke how we think this Giro, it's so back-ended. You don't want to be going into the last week of the Giro with only one option. If you can take 2 into the top 5, and Hindley has the capacity to do that, then you can use that, and that could be paying dividends.
That's a great call. I'm just trying to... What year did Jai win? 2022? He did. Now,
yes.
His lead up to this race looked very similar to his lead up in 2022. So what did he finish at? Was that first race? Where did he finish on the GC? Tirreno
Adriatico.
He was where this year?
This year he was 5th.
So in 2022, when he won the Giro, he was 5th.
Where was he in Catalunya? Did he race Catalunya?
Catalunya, he was 13th.
He was 9th.
He was 9th this year.
Did he race the Tour of the Alps?
He didn't race Tour of the Alps. He went to La Flèche, finished 26th, then he went straight to the Giro. So a similar preparation for Jai Hindley, and I like the progression there for him. But you're right, if you've got 2 leaders high up on GC, it's always a benefit, and it's going to be a big task for Red Bull to keep Roglic safe, because we know how many times has he been taken out of a race, particularly the Tour, before the action really gets started. So Nico Dens is going to be a real bodyguard, and Traknik is going to be huge for the final week as well. So as good as their team is, there's still a lot of pressure to make sure they nurse their 2 favourites to the last week. Yeah,
and what consolidates my opinion of Hindley being co-leader is that Roglic is on record saying that he's doing the double. So he's going to do the Giro, and then he's going to the Tour later.
Okay.
So he's going to be coming in here with good legs. I'd say he's coming in great legs. He wants to win this and then think about the Tour. It'll be fascinating, but he's not going to have it as all his own way, because the young Spaniard who's coming up, who's a divisive character, I'm starting to sort of take note of. I'm speaking of Juan Ayuso from UAE. He's 22 years old. He is sort of touted as the next coming of Tadej Pogacar, if you want to dare utter that line.
They called him the new Contador when he first came on the scene.
They did.
22 years old, like you said, and what a year he's had.
He has had a year. He's won Tirreno Adriatico in March. What have I written
That's
down
right,
here?
he did win.
He did.
Yep, he won Torino. He won a stage there. He won Trofeo Laigueglia. He won Fuan Drome Classic at the start of the year, and then he went on to finish second at the Volta Catalunya as well with a stage win in the books, and didn't really finish outside the top 5 in that race. Everything he's touched this year so far, has turned to gold.
It certainly has, and he's shown that he can win. He's shown that he can just strangle races, and we saw that at Tirreno. He just put the young Mexican on the start list, Del Toro on the front, and just strangled the race on every mountaintop finish there. They've got a good team. They've got an interesting team, in my opinion.
That is a super team. Oh, my God.
They've got Isaac Del Toro, I spoke about. Jay Vine, who just won a stage at Romandie and finished on the podium overall. They've got Brandon McNulty. They've got Micah, the experienced. Rafa Micah. Igor Aretti, who was third at Coppa Bartoli. He is a solid domestique. He will be a bit of a bodyguard, in my opinion.
And Adam Yates. You're joking.
But Adam Yates has been a bit of a ghost this year, and my understanding is that he's been a little bit crook, a little bit under the weather. He won the Tour of Oman earlier on in February. Hasn't been seen since. In April, he's done a big block of training at altitude, but we haven't seen him. So it begs the question whether or not it'll be split leadership. I don't know if it will. These two are touted as the favourite, Ayuso and Roglic. These are the two big names. I don't know who has the edge. I think Rog maybe has a slight edge at the moment because he won Catalunya. Ayuso tried a lot of action, a lot of moves at Catalunya. And Rog, just in this old infinite wisdom, it was just a pure Roglification, as Daniel Benson calls it. He just suffocates his riders and beats them in a 2-up sprint.
It's going to take a lot. I think Juan Ayuso will be, he'll just do better in the bunches than Roglic, so I think it'll take less energy for their team to protect him. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of cooks in this kitchen. You talk about the Yates. I mean, he was 6th at the Tour. He did Tour Vuelta last year. He was 6th overall, of course, helping Pog. 13th at the Vuelta, helping Pog. But Jay Vine, for me, is one to look out for because
he's coming into form.
Well, he's rocked up in form, and he has. He might be in the form of his life right now. The way he's racing, and took a great late attack solo win last week. In fact, Del Toro. I mean, I hope he isn't strangled too much. Del Toro. I hope he isn't just chained up because he could win so many of the stages on this Giro. And Baracchini, I'm pretty sure he's just starting to hit his straps now. Filippo Baracchini. He was the world champion, I believe. Let's click on First Cycling 2021. He was, look at that guess, under 23, road race world champion in 2021. So it took him a few years to reach, to actually start racing. He had, I think he broke his leg, then he had concussions. So we're starting to see what he can do now. So I think we'll see the best of him as well. But that team, UAE.
Yeah, it's a solid team. It's a
good.
powerhouse team.
It's very good.
On a bit of a wider front, it sort of takes another step down, in my opinion. You got those big names of sort of Roglic,
They're definitely
Ayuso,
above.
Hindley. I'm going to put there as well.
Yates, yeah.
And Yates as well, because you can't ride a Yates off until they're there.
No,
And
they're
that's
League One.
Precisely. Second level, so to speak, on a homegrown front. He deserves this. Michael Storer from Tudor Pro Cycling has put himself in the mix. He won the Tour of Alps in sensational fashion a while ago. He overcame Etienne Arnsman from Ineos Grenadiers. He threw down the gauntlet and got up the road. How he won this race really, really puts himself in the frame. He just came back. He overcame, I think it was a 41 second lead.
Yep.
So it was very impressive to see that. He's also had a stage at Paris-Nice earlier on in the year in grippy, miserable conditions. It was snowing at the top of the mountain where they finished. And he's got the team as well. He doesn't have a great team, but he's got the team, I think, who will go, right, we've got a guy. And this is what some of those mid to lower level teams, including the pro cycling, the pro level teams, the second tier teams do, where they can just galvanise around one rider and they can really, really get stuck in and get behind someone. Unlike UAE or unlike Red Bull Bora, where they're just kind of spreading the roots a little bit here and
cooks in
there.
the kitchen, you're right. And when everyone else is shit, you've got one good rider. It is easy to really get behind a big star. Marco Brenner, the German, the young German, he's actually a very good rider. He's riding for Tudor. The Tudor skin suits, the riders when they wear them, they just look so good. Storer, the robot, as they call him, loves the descent as well. Quite a good descender after probably starting his career as a bit of a liability there. It's funny to see Storer and Hindley, big names in this race because they were teammates for many, many years in the under-23 Australian Cycling Academy. Storer, I think, is a great call. He loves filthy weather, so if it's snowing and ice, he'll be there. But what I love is Tudor just juicing up the Giro organisers all year, all last year. There would have been VIP dinners to ensure with all the big wigs to make sure they get the Giro start. And then a month later, after their Giro start was announced, they got the Tour de France
They
start,
do it well.
and they ripped Alaphilippe out of the start list. They ripped Mark Hershey out of the start list, and all of a sudden you're left with Storer and a bunch of flogs. So they just took him out and go, sorry, they're coming to the Tour. So it's a classic rug pull from Cancellara. He would have been sweating it up in the sauna, the great man, thinking, you know what, the Giro sounded pretty good until we got the Tour invite. So I love it. And Tudor, mate, let's hope Storer, I reckon he can shake things up.
He could. I think for them, what's a pass mark? Do you reckon? The other big favourites we've spoken about a win is the pass mark.
I think a stage. I think Storer
Stage,
can win a
top
stage.
5?
Yeah, I think he can win a stage. He'll be one of those. I actually think Storer's going to do quite well in the GC if all things go well. But I could just on without saying that, I can easily see Storer being in the GC group, 6-7 riders. Yep. He attacks, and on one stage, the GC riders are, let's say, Ayuso and Roglic are going to be so trained on each other.
Oh, they're going to be eyeing each other off.
Any other riders that are in that group that aren't on their teams, they're going to have a chance to go while these two look at each other, Carapaz-Nibali style from years ago.
Oh, that was a miserable result.
Actually, Nibali, Roglic style, and Carapaz was the one who took it on.
Yep, precisely. I 100% agree with you, mate. I think that could be the case. And I really, obviously, from our corner of the world, we're a little bit, we like to get on board with the Australians.
West is best. We want to see them do well.
Yes, precisely.
Egan Bernal and Tymon Arrisman are going to be the Ineos leaders. I think Bernal is going to be... I'd love to see him win a stage. And I think Bernal will be the surprise. I think Arrisman's going to be good. I think Bernal is going to be good.
Arrisman, he's been unleashed a little bit this year. 3rd at Paris-Nice. 2nd at the Tour of Alps. Storer sort of rolled over the top of him as we spoke.
Yep.
But he's got a bit of a gripe at the moment. He's got a hard edge on him at the moment. He really wants leadership. He wants opportunity. He's been provocal about that internally at Ineos and externally as well. Yep. And he backs himself, and I like that. But no, God, I think people just absolutely love him. They want to see him go well. Like you said, I think maybe a top 10 for the pair of them potentially is where they could end up.
That would be interesting.
Do you think that's a pass mark?
Yeah, I think it is a pass mark. Yeah, I think we've seen Aronsman finish 6th back in 2023 in the Giro, so he can definitely... he's got experience at least in finishing a Grand Tour high up in the standings. So a top 10 for both would be very good, and a stage maybe for either would be very special as well. We've got Richard Carapaz is back, the great man. Good to see him.
The Condor of Ecuador, as Keenan's poetically...
The Condor of Ecuador. I think he's got a different name than that. The Condor of Ecuador. He's got another nickname as well. Yeah, Keno's got a few nicknames. That's a good one. Lander is back as well for Soudal. That's good to see.
Yeah, he's got a good mob around him as well, Lander. Obviously, he's got Paul Magnier, the young French sprinter. But he's got Matteo Cantanio, and he's got Ethan Hayter, James Knox as well. So he's got a little bit of support there. Not the best team in the world. You're not going to write home about it, but it's there or thereabouts.
Simon Yates, is he racing? Where has he been this year?
He's been crook.
Where has he?
He's been crook, mate. He's been crook. Simon Yates, he's done very little. But how's the team?
Well, he's running for Visma this year, if you've forgotten. Team Visma Lisa bike. That is some teams. We've got Simon Yates. He's got Van Baarle, who he kind of looks washed now, Van Baarle. Krushwick as well. He'll be taking a trip back in time. The big stack, the big flop at the end there. Olav Coy, he'll be checking out AG2R's truck while he's at the Giro.
He will.
Kelderman as well, the most top 10s. I think he's got 150 World Tour top 10s, Kelderman.
Doesn't surprise me.
Without a World Tour victory.
How's that though? Kruiswijk, Kelderman, they are just been the stalwarts of this team. You throw on the big Italian Edoardo Affini and Wout van Aert, they'll probably make up the train for Olav Koy. Really excited to see what they can do on a variety of front. I think Yates, he's good enough to come to this race having done a big block of altitude and go try and win a stage.
Oh, I think actually if we get the Yates that we saw in 2023 and what we saw in parts in 2024, he's one of the best climbers in the world, but this parkour, I'm not sure how much it'll suit him holding on towards the end, so this is up to him now. This is what he would have signed this contract for at Visma Lisa bike.
Yep, absolutely.
You come in as the big name that's been supporting Pog for the last 3 or 4 years. We think, you're telling us, and we think you are one of the top 5 climbers in the world. Here is your opportunity to prove it. He's got the team. There's no excuses here from Simon Yates. He has to be on the podium.
Yeah, he certainly does. He's got the big ticket. Wait and see. I don't think he has it in him. I just don't. You've got to have the runs on the board. You've got to go to races and you've got to perform.
Yep. And
I tell you who has been doing that, and I've been really impressed with, is Derek G from Israel Premier Tech. The Canadian. He's like another Michael Woods. He's just come through and he's just performed, this bloke. He's so good. He's been third at the Alps, Tour of Alps this year. He was fourth at Torino. He went and won at El Gran Camino in northern Spain. Yep. He's got a really bloody good team around him of Simon Clark, Marco Frigo, who won a stage at Alps as well, Jakob Fuglsang, Jan Hurt, Hugo Hule, Nick Schultz, Corbin Strong.
Oh.
So I'm really keen to see how Derek G, the Canadian, goes. I think he's going to end up on the podium.
I like it. That's a huge on the podium.
Yeah, mate. Yeah,
Derek G's going to be on the podium of the Giro.
Yeah, he was top 10 of the Tour last year.
I bet you Derek G finishes outside the top 10.
You're on.
All
pub
right.
lunch.
Make sure you keep the receipts on that one. Ciccone for Lidl Trek. That's going to be very, very good to see. And of course, Pedersen.
Ciccone does absolutely. No,
show me Ciccone's results in 2025. Show me Derek G's, and I'll tell you which one I'd like to take out to dinner. It'll be Ciccone every day, and I'll be wearing my 100%. Speaking of 100%, they're great sponsors of us, FE Sports. We love them. We've got our key sprinters to dive into next. Tommy, this is Roadside, presented by Zwift.
Right, we're not going to waste any more of your time. We've spoken about some of the big GC leaders. Have we spoken about the route, what it's like? Now, some of the guys, it's always interesting because teams go to the Giro with a split ambitions, don't they?
GC sprinters or GC stages.
So, the big list, or the short list rather, of the sprinters, it's a little bit smaller than what, say, last year would have been, or last year was. They had Johnny Milan with Lidl Trek, who mopped the floor with everybody. This year, he's been replaced by Mads Pedersen. He doesn't have the best support, the big Dane, but he's going there and he's good enough to get it done. He's going to be going up against Olav Koy from Visma Lisa bike. He's got Wout van Aert in his support as well. But I'm intrigued to see how Caden Groves, the Australian from Alpes and De Koenig, he's yet to win this year. Last year, he was second in the points classification. He finished second twice and he finished third twice across a variety of different stages.
It's the second time this year in the run sheet you've spelt Caden Grooves.
I think I just shoot it in there, mate. I just shoot it in there, and I obviously know how to say it, so I don't need to worry about how it's spelled.
Let's call him Grooves from now on.
Groovesy.
Big
Get
Grooves.
your groove on SBS. They'll come up with our tagline or something like that.
SBS, yeah, that's true.
They're the top sprinters at this race.
In your opinion?
Yeah,
put
absolutely.
my man below Caden Grooves.
Yeah, Paul Magnier. He's young. He hasn't won yet this year. He's been up there. Everyone's going, oh, he's amazing. It's going to be his first Grand Tour. Wait and see. He's got the support of Luke Lamparty, the young American. It'll be fascinating to see how he goes. I don't think they're expecting him to make it to Rome, Paul Magnier potentially, but I think they're expecting the opportunities to be grabbed in the first week. Sam Bennett, he is going to be rounding out Decathlon AG2R. He's had a few wins this year.
He's in form. He's looking good.
He is, and he's got a good team as well. He's got the likes of Stan de Wolf, Dries de Bont, who are going to be going there. from Q36.5, they've got Matteo Moschetti.
Oh, he's had a few upsets this year,
Yeah,
hasn't he?
he has. And most noticeably, he was third at Scaldaprice, the sprinting world champs.
With Moschetti, the key thing to know is when you're watching out for him in one of these sprint stages, it is the sprint stages that are started at high speeds. So if we're getting a super straight run into the finale, the last 2Ks is dead straight, and there's lots of lead-out riders, the speed is a plus. If they're starting the sprint at 60 plus Ks an hour, Moschetti is a very good chance to win. But if it's one that started in the 50s, he's less of a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he won a high-speed sprint in Oman or Saudi, one of the
That's
two
right,
earlier
the
on.
highest ever, the fastest ever kilometre ever in the history of cycling. He won it. I think they topped out at 78 kilometres an hour in the top speed of the sprint. So it must be, I think that is purely a biomechanical sort of specialty with him, that he can produce power at extreme RPMs greater than the other competitors. So that's why I say when the speeds are extremely high and it's more about RPMs, Moschetti is the man.
Yeah, absolutely. Hugo Hooley for Israel Premier Tech rounds it out. Put him in the bin, I reckon. Who stands up in Johnny Milan's absence? The big sprinters. Who's going to be the big sprinter this year?
The big
Who
horse.
might win the most stages, and also who's going to take the sprints jersey?
For me, I think Magnier will be the one who will take everyone and pull everyone's pants down and just try and save Soudal Quickstep's season.
Are you trying to say that in spite to me?
No, he's my man. I said at the start, he will be the one that will surprise everyone. Paul Magnier, I think he'll take 2 stages, and I think he won't take the jersey, but I think he'll be the one that everyone goes, whoa, this kid, he's a superstar. In terms of winning the jersey, I think it's an easy one. Mads, he wins this one. It's like when Sagan used to go to the Tour and win it easily.
I tend to agree. I think Mads will get the jersey.
Okay.
He's in good form. He's in contract year as well.
And who wins the stages, mate?
I think in the pure sprints, Olaf Koy. Olaf Koy is an absolute gun. He'll have Wout van Aert helping him as well. Eduardo Affini will step in. I think they get it done. That rounds out the sprinters, so to speak. And obviously in the Giro, in every Grand Tour, there's always your rogue units, the stage hunters.
The ones who fall in between the GCs, the sprinters, and they might be breakaway artists, or they might be the riders who are just not quite strong enough to ride
how it
for
is,
GC.
mate. They're just shit GC riders.
No, if they maybe they're just their bar, if they're playing a game, you're leveling them up. It's just not quite at 100. You've got a few down here, which are some interesting names. You've got Thomas Pidcock, you've got Corbin Strong, Marco Frigo, you've got David Gaudu. I forgot all about him. Scaroni, my
He's
man
back
from
XDS,
Astana, the great man.
Astana.
Our man Plappy, he is going to be on. We'll see the best of him. George Steinhauser, a couple of big names there. I think we're going to put another one down. What about Pel Bilbao?
Pelé Bilbao,
He will love all of the downhill parts of this course. Looking at the parkour earlier, there are a lot of stages that finish after a very, very long and technical descent, and Bilbao was probably the best descender in the peloton, probably next to Pidcock. But the best thing about Bilbao is that if anyone's with him, he can sprint. So if he's got 3 riders with him, he's got a huge kick. He started out as a sprinter, Bilbao.
It'll be fascinating to see what he does, because he's going to be tied up with Antonio Tiberi, and we actually forgot to mention Bahrain during the GC.
Tiberi, the cat killer. Stay away from Mr. Earl. Tiberi.
He's been in the top 5 at Tirreno this year, Tiberi, so he's not bad.
He's a good rider.
Did DNF at Alps, so there's a little bit of a question mark hanging around them.
Went to the vets.
But you're right, Bilbao could be one of those riders who just mops the floor. And, more or less, there are a lot of riders coming to this Giro who will be looking to win stages. Obviously, everyone's looking to win stages, but those riders looking to win those medium mountain stages.
There's quite a few of them.
And these riders can make a Grand Tour, and they can salvage one, can't they?
Oh, if you win a stage,
Pressure's off.
It makes your career if you were a Grand Tour stage winner. Now, riders who are going to, who's going to step up and win the most stages, or really just collect a lot of those medium mountain transitional stages we see. I like Bilbao. I did have a different rider in there earlier, but I've changed it. I like Bilbao based on all of those descending finishes. I think he'll be up there with... I think we're going to see Bilbao and Pidcock actually battle a lot throughout this Giro d'Italia.
Yeah, completely agree. You're going Bilbao, I'm going Pidcock, so there you go.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I like that. I think we're going to see the young Brit. He's been training the house down. Didn't have the best Ardennes, but he's coming in because he knows he's going to mop the floor in this year's Giro, I reckon.
How many stages does Pidcock win?
I think he's got to win 2.
Is 2 par for Pidcock?
I think 1 is par, but I reckon he'll win 2 rather.
Okay, yeah, 1's par, and 2 is good, yeah. Okay, so we're going to pick our mortgage. We're going to put the mortgage down. Sorry, Megan, we're putting the mortgage down on some picks. Who's going to win GC right after this break? This is Roadside, presented by Zwift. The mortgage picks, the roadside mortgage picks, where we lay down the foundations, what we've saved up for and built over years, and we bet it all on the GC for the Giro d'Italia.
It's always good having a little tickle on the ground. You absolutely love it. We've got and we're going to be paying special interest to Derek G as well now.
My free pub lunch. Mate, there's no way he's going to get inside the top 10.
I'll get you something off the kids' menu, mate.
Oh, that's good. The pancakes.
Okay.
My top 3.
Yep.
No, you give me yours and I'll
Okay. Derek G is going to be 3rd for me. I think the Canadian, he's going really well. He's got a good team. And I think he is their GC guy at the end of the day. And they've gone, hey, we're not going to go anywhere at the Tour. All the big names of the big 4, apart from Roglic, are going to, obviously, the Giro.
Yep.
They're going to the Tour, rather.
The Tour, yep.
So G, I think, is just going to come in and have an excellent ride.
Okay.
Following him, it's going to be hard to split the next 2. Ayuso, I think, is 2nd, the young Spaniard. I think he can't get the better of Primoz Roglic, who will win the 108th Giro d'Italia. He will win his 2nd Giro, and I think it'll be his 5th Grand Tour. I think the back end of the Giro is so hard that I think it just suits a senior rider who can handle everything and will just save their bullets.
Wow. Okay, well, I'll start mine the other way. I think Ayuso does win. I think he wins. I just think we see him announce himself and go, I am a league above. We had them all in the same league at the start, those 4 or 5 riders. I think Ayuso gets it done when it matters. I think Roglic and Hindley finished 2nd and 3rd. I think
Bora
Hindley,
brothers on
I think they finished quite close together. Not time. I think the time there'll be a big gap there, but I think Hindley will probably ride himself into 3rd on the podium on the final day. You know, on that big climb where there's differences of 10 or 15 minutes between, the top 20 riders. So that's my take. I think Ayuso is going to announce himself here, and the big story after he wins the Giro will be. Does he stay at UAE, because he'll be fighting to get into the Tour to do the same. Yeah,
God, the Spaniard, he'll be causing a ruckus, won't he, mate? UAE, it's already been an absolute race to be able to get on the start list for the Giro, despite there being 55 debutants scattered across, and a few of them actually in UAE.
He could go to Tudor next year, because then they could say he's going to the Giro and rug pull it, and psych, he's going to the Tour.
That'd be their way into the Vuelta, wouldn't it? Hey, have the big Spaniard, then Fabian's greasing up the Vuelta directors.
Take him into the old steam room. Have a look at my stones. The old sweaty stones. Big Fabian.
Okay, wrap it up. Put a pin in it. We've got the Giro. And for the Giro, folks, we will be doing a little bit of coverage. We will be trying to... Maybe we might be looking at it in those 5 parts.
Yes.
We're still yet to finalise it.
At least one stage per week, at least one pod per week in the Giro, and we'll try and do more. And we'll try and either recap the weeks or recap, like you said, the sections of, the first part out of Albania, the second part towards the gravel stage, etc. But we'll definitely have coverage throughout the race. Make sure you are following along.
Yeah, we'd love to see it.
And thanks for watching, and we'll see you very soon. We've got the first day coming up on Saturday. And you got one more thing to say?
Yeah, who wins the first stage takes Maglia Rosa in the first stage?
Van Aert.
Pidcock.
Oh, all
See you
right.
then.
See you later.